Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to make a cotton shoulder bag. For this project, I'm going to be wrapping it with Sinew, so I'm using my Mega Polar from Boredom with Jen. She's no longer going to be making these Mega Polars, but there might be a few left, so if you're interested in the Mega Polar and matching caddy, I suggest that you go check out her website now. She's going to continue making the smaller, regular size Sinew Polar and matching caddy. So what I'm doing now is I'm wrapping it up with the sinew. So I just gathered up a bunch of fabric and I wrap the sinew around 1, 2, 3 times, pull it really tight. Then I wrap it around 2 or 3 or 4 more times and pull it really tight. The sinew is a wax covered string, and that is what creates the white lines in the pattern. And I'm just going to do that for this entire project. So some of you that make geodes might be wondering, why did you just cut your sinew? Well, I had originally intended upon doing multiple geodes, but I changed my mind, and I often do that with projects, and that's okay. So instead of doing the multiple geodes, like I had mentioned, I'm just going to continue to wrap it all the way down to the end. So you could call this a single geode, or you could call it a sinew wrap, whatever you'd like to call it. As I'm tying it up, periodically I like to ruffle up the fabric. It just sort of helps change the direction of the fabric and helps the dye look a little bit different. Otherwise, you're just going to have perfectly straight lines like a bullseye going all the way down. And I don't want to have that look for this particular project. Maybe on some other projects, the bullseye is fine. But like I said, I really want this to have a nice organic feel. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye. So I took the project and I just sort of rolled it up and I've secured it with a rubber band. Now I have it placed inside my over the sink strainer and I have that on top of one of my totes. That way when you put the ice on it, the tote can catch all the melting ice. I love these over the sink strainers and I use them as often as possible. I have links for them down below in the description box, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so make sure you check that out. Also, the link to the Sinew Polar and matching caddy is down there. For those of you that watch regularly, you know I usually mark out my pattern before I start adding my dye. And I didn't do that with this one. I kind of wish that I had because I'm really all over the place with it. But that's the fun of making these geode type patterns or single sinew wraps, whatever. You can go crazy with the colors. Having that white line as a break in between the colors is very helpful, so you can just really have fun with it. And so I'm winging it with this. and that's okay. For my control issues though, I wish that I would have marked out the pattern. It probably would have saved a lot of time and just been a lot more efficient. That's a good word. I would have been more efficient had I marked out my pattern with a washable marker before adding my dye. Next, I give the project a quick little sprinkle of soda ash for good measure, and I add my ice. And I had some Pribcho ice sitting next to me, so I just put that on there, but it wasn't enough. So I got some nugget ice, and I just made sure to cover the project so I didn't see any of the fabric showing through. And I let it do its thing overnight. And in the morning when I came back and checked it, there was still some areas that didn't quite have enough saturation, so I decided to just repeat the process. It's moments like these where I'm glad that I document what I make, because I was able to look back at the footage and know exactly where I needed to place the dye. It's recommended that you let your projects batch at 70 degrees or higher for at least 24 hours. And I can tell you that I let this project batch for the full 48 hours in the Oregon heat, which is not too extreme, but I think it did get up into the 90s. So the sun porch area where I make my tie-dye was probably 95 degrees. It did begin to dry out a little bit, but that's okay because at 48 hours, the soda ash and the procion dye are no longer having a chemical reaction. So now you just gotta untie your project, and I swear it feels like it takes just as long to untie it as it does to tie it up. And I'm trying out something new where I don't rinse it first, I untie it, then I do my rinse out. So once you get it untied, it's time to rinse out your project. And you want to start by using cold water. That's going to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric. And then increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. From here, I take it to the washing machine, and I like to do hot water cycles using Kirillon, a professional textile detergent. And then I like to do a final hot water cycle using Millsoft. And Millsoft is a professional fabric softener, and I get both Kirillon and Millsoft from Dharma Trading Company. And yes, you will find the links down below in the description box. And then I will dry it and I'll iron it, and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our cotton shoulder bag after it's been washed and dried, and I think Donna looks fantastic wearing it. I love this color combination. It reminds me of the dress that I made, and I think these two would go perfectly together, but they might be too matchy-match. Now these photographs are on the dye table and the colors look a lot darker. I just don't have great lighting in that area. But the colors look beautiful together. The forest green is the more earthy of the greens, and then the new emerald green is the one that has the more blue tones to it. And then obviously the Dances with Raisins is the burgundy color, and the Palomino Gold is the goldish brown color. And they all look terrific together. I think the bag turned out great. Now, I wish there was heavier saturation in some areas, but that's the thing with these ties. They're really super tight. And had I flipped it over and maybe added dye to the back side after the second layer of ice, but I was done with it. You know, when it gets super hot, I don't really want to go out there and do any more work. It's pretty miserable. So overall, I'm super pleased with this bag. And as far as the bag goes, I would definitely buy it again. They dye up really well. They're super cute. They have a pocket on the inside and the outside, and it has a Velcro closure. So I think it could be really a more useful bag than some of the other bags that Dharma has because of that Velcro. You could like actually maybe put your cell phone in there on the inside and it wouldn't get lost. So overall, I'm super pleased. What do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing!